Hey, everybody.
I see people joining.
Hi. All right, this is exciting. We've got 23 people already here and growing. Awesome. I think, Lindsay, let's go ahead and kick off.
All right, we're ready. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Zello for Desktop and Dispatch Deep Dive. We're excited to have our wonderful customers and partners joining us. Today is all about showing you how Zello gives desk-based teams the same speed, clarity, and control your frontline already relies on. Whether you're coordinating shuttles, running a command center, managing a high volume dispatch operation, or simply want to use Zello while sitting at your desk, Zello on desktop brings your entire network into one clear view. So you're joined today by our entire customer success team. This is the group who works hands-on with our customers every day. We're here to go deep on our desktop and dispatch capabilities. We want to answer any operational questions and make sure you walk away with practical ways to sharpen communication inside your organization. Our mission at Zello is simple. We connect frontline workers to make their work safer, more productive, and more human. Everything we'll cover today is engineered with that mission in mind. And now let's kick things off with a video that Claire will introduce.
All right, to illustrate the topics we're covering today, we thought what better way than showcasing one of our amazing customer stories, Amrise. I know a few of you from Amrise. I'm trying to kind of glance through and see if y'all are here yet, but I know a few of you from Amrise RSVP'd. Please bear in mind this short video is a few years old, and just this year, Wholesome became Amrise. So they're referenced as Wholesome or Lafarge Wholesome in the video. The use case remains, please pay special attention about 40 seconds in when Jeremiah talks about the dispatcher use case and shows the Zello desktop application.
Lafarge Holcim is one of the largest building materials manufacturing company in the world. We have operations across 75 countries, plus 70,000 employees throughout the world.
In order to keep everyone safe, transparency and communication is paramount. And for this, we need the right tools and the right technology in place and at the fingertips of all our teams. We're especially excited about our partnership with Zello that provides seamless communications and stone-mounted mics, which is the right rugged device for communications in our environment.
With our old school radios in the ready-mix concrete industry, you're relying a lot on traditional channels. It becomes a problem with radio fatigue, dispatchers not being able to pick up on every single call, and drivers toning it out and not paying attention. Having the dispatch hub, our dispatchers really enjoy it because they can see exactly who's calling in and can replay messages in case they are missed.
The biggest feature I like about Zello is I can talk directly to an individual driver. I don't have to fight 100 other drivers trying to tell somebody, hey, you need to turn around and go back 2 blocks.
We try to watch out for each other and give each other information as it changes on these sites all the time. You want to be able to concentrate on driving. It's very important for folks to understand any hazards that may be involved at the job site or at the plant. Being able to communicate that effectively and quickly is the most important thing we can do for our people.
Okay. And before we jump in, you'll see a Q&A button on your Zoom toolbar, kind of at the bottom. You can use this anytime, so you don't have to wait for the end. And we may answer a few live as we go or save them for the dedicated Q&A at the end. Either way, we'll make sure that your questions get answered. So here's where we're headed today. First, we'll talk a bit about the key benefits of all the different apps you can use on Zello. And then we'll look at how Zello works on desktop and how it's not just for dispatchers and some of the functionality involved there, followed by how the desktop app supports dispatcher operations, and finally, analytics. It gives you a window into the performance of your dispatch operations, and then we'll wrap it up with the Q&A.
So first, we'll talk about the mobile app. This is the one that your frontline already knows and loves. It can run on almost any iOS or Android device, and it keeps your frontline connected with instant voice communication, no matter where their work takes them. And why we're here today, Zello on desktop. So now we shift to the people who don't spend their day in a truck or walking around all day on a sales floor. So think of supervisors or safety teams, command centers, admin staff, really anybody who works from a computer can communicate with frontline workers just as easily as they can on a mobile device. And on desktop, you're going to get the same experience as you do on mobile, pretty much, with message replay, transcription, sending text and photos, one-to-one or group conversations, and of course, dispatch channels. And the key point here is that the desktop app is not just for dispatchers, it's really for anyone who needs to keep eyes and ears on their operation while they're sitting at a desk. And then dispatch channels. So this introduces our call queue feature. You can think of it like a ticketing system for voice messages. So every inbound call lands in a shared call queue, so any available dispatcher or user can pick it up. Once they do, it becomes a one-to-one conversation. So this means no excess channel noise and none of the classic default to your favorite dispatcher bottlenecks that we all know happen, especially in transportation. And once they do, or everything flows through a shared call queue, so your team actually shares that workload, and they can respond faster. And again, dispatch channels also give you detailed analytics, which Caleb will go over detail in later. But again, the story here is simple. Zello on mobile, it keeps your frontline workers connected. Desktop, Zello on a desktop connects your desk-based teams to the front line, and dispatch channels bring order to all of the chaos. Just in the last 30 days, Zello Work users sent 47.2 million messages, and of those, 4.1 million were sent from the desktop app, and 2 million of those through dispatch channels specifically. And these numbers highlight how essential these core features are for our customers. And more importantly, they're included at no additional cost and are available to all Zello Work customers today. Now I'll hand it off to Claire for a quick poll question for the audience. We would love your participation, and then she'll discuss more about how Zello operates on a desktop.
All right. Thanks, guys, for joining. Jen, it looks like you're going to have to launch the poll. Just before we get into desktop, Zello for desktop, we want to ask a quick question just to get a pulse of the room. How do your desk-based team members communicate with your frontline or deskless workers today? Just answer that first question, and then you can close it. Actually, it's going to make you answer all three right now. So let's go ahead and do that, guys. Sorry about that. It might make you answer all three right now.
We're getting some in here. Thank you so much, guys. Putting you to work right at the beginning of this call. Still got some people going here. Give them about 30 more seconds.
All right. And Jen, it looks like you're going to be seeing the answers too. Are we seeing any themes?
I think I'm able to share the results. Can you guys see them?
Nope. But that's okay.
Maybe we come back to this and I'll find where the
Sounds great. Sounds good. Okay, so let's get into Zello's desktop application. This is what Zello looks like on a desktop. We call the application Dispatch Hub, although it can be used for much more than dispatching. So in a little bit, we're going to go through in more detail what all you can do from Zello on the desktop app. For now, let's talk at a high level about what you can do from the desktop app. So similarly to the mobile app, you can talk. You can text, You can read transcriptions of voice comms as they come in. You can, coming soon, catch up on summaries of missed messages. You can share and see images, and you can also view where users are on a map. And I'm going to get into a little bit more detail about the map on the next slide. All right, so on the Zello desktop app, there's basically two ways to tap into Zello's map functionality. One is from the administrative console, which you may have already seen, and then one is from the desktop app, so it makes it more functional for more users that need to see where people are. With real-time tracking and location history, different industries like transportation, logistics, field operations can improve coordination. I see use of the map a lot in aviation as well, like what gate is the agent nearby. So you can see live locations. If you have our premium maps feature, you can see a historical breadcrumb trail of where that user or even where that device has been. So it's great for asset tracking as well. You can also open up a one-on-one conversation with a user straight from the map. You can see things like their battery life of their device, how fast they're moving, and you can open up more detail in Google Maps to see richer information on their location. So just to talk a little bit more about the desktop experience and who it's good for, if you have supervisors or coordinators sitting at a desk throughout the day, maybe they're not issued a managed mobile device, this helps improve their day. They can view transcriptions, monitor conversations without necessarily talking and interrupting the conversation, and stay connected to the field without having to pick up a device. For command centers, whether it's an aviation SOC, a construction safety tent, or a dispatch office, desktop can give you a clean, always-on view of everything that's happening with your Zello channels. And then, of course, dispatchers. So that's going to be a use case we dive deeply into today. The desktop app is built with dispatch in mind. Your busiest channels for drivers, shuttles, logistics, site support benefit from the call queue and the ability to run multiple conversations in parallel without chatter bleeding through. Deployment of the desktop app is pretty quick. It takes minutes, not days. Your teams can download the exe file directly from the admin console or Zello.com, or your IT at scale can deploy it with any kind of desktop management application using MSI files. Zello also plays well with accessories. So whether your teams prefer something like what's shown here, a Shokz bone conduction headset or a gooseneck mic on the desk. Teams really like the Shokz that we show here because it's open ear and allows for in-office chatter without missing a message. You can also just leverage existing speaker sources on the desktop or existing headsets that people are already using. And to make enablement easy, we have complete resources online. Your Zello account manager, so that's one of us, can also host a training. We recommend leveraging keyboard shortcuts for the desktop app. So push-to-talk hotkeys turn your keyboard into a radio without needing Zello in the foreground. There's even a hotkey for replaying the last message. So that's critical when your teams are multitasking in different dispatch software and different logistics software that they might have up on their screen. All right, so I'm going to hand it over to Stefan to cover dispatch functionality.
Thanks, Claire. So Zello keeps things pretty simple with three distinct channel types, each serving a different purpose. You have team, dynamic, and dispatch channel types. A team channel is always on. Everyone in the channel can hear one another, and nobody can disconnect or mute it. Another feature of a team channel is that all members automatically become contacts, granting them the ability to message each other directly. A dynamic channel feels more flexible. Users can toggle themselves in or out of the channel whenever they want to mute it. And then, lastly, we have the dispatch channel, which we'll be diving into today. With dispatch, one person can call into a team. Zello calls this person the driver. And then when someone from the team responds, whom we call the dispatcher, it instantly becomes a private, one-on-one conversation between driver and dispatcher. Other use cases can think of this as an associate requesting help from their management team, or maybe a housekeeper troubleshooting with maintenance, for example. The issue dispatch channels solve are unbalanced workload and unnecessary noise that leads to radio fatigue. Here, we see in a traditional channel, a request from a driver goes out to all dispatchers, but also to all drivers, and that gets noisy. As Jen previously mentioned, we all know drivers have a tendency to find a favorite dispatcher, which results in Betsy handling 10 times more calls than Bob. So here you see, when Betsy responds in a traditional channel, the same situation applies. Everyone has to hear that response. Drivers begin to tune out the chatter and can miss important messages, and dispatchers suffer from response fatigue. Now, introducing the Zello dispatch channel. A driver makes a request that is heard by all dispatchers to ensure a fast response time, but the other drivers are spared the chatter. With multiple requests, calls neatly queue up for dispatchers to prioritize and address accordingly. Then, when Betsy responds to the driver one-on-one, minimizing chatter for everyone involved, communications transform from all to targeting messaging without noise so both roles can stay focused and execute efficiently. So from the driver side, it's the same press of a button that they're used to send a request, but what does call queuing look like from a dispatcher perspective? Here's a quick demo.
So what does it look like managing a flurry of incoming calls in a dispatch channel? As calls come in, they populate in your calling queue here on the left. With transcriptions enabled, you can easily prioritize your calls. Click Accept, and you'll be able to talk one-on-one directly with the initiator. How can I help? As the conversation progresses, if you need to transfer the call, you can do so easily by hitting these three buttons and transferring the call to another dispatcher. Similarly, if you've accepted a call and you want to put it back into the queue for another dispatcher to answer, hit this Move to Pending button. Calls will always stay in your queue until they've been addressed or resolved, so your team will never miss responding to a call ever again.
Worth noting, we're cognizant that not all dispatcher type personnel sit at a desktop, but fear not, the dispatcher role can also be used on a mobile device. Now, over to Caleb to talk about data.
Thanks, Devin. I'm going to share a little bit more about the analytics that we offer with our dispatch channels and how our customers use this data to assess efficiency for their organization. So here's a quick visual of what the display analytics looks like from an administrator's management console. So you can get a feel for the sort of data you get from the dashboard. And you can see how many dispatchers you have online, how long it takes to answer, their average call length, and how many calls they've received. And we'll talk a little bit about why this matters more in the next slide, but we wanted you to see what the analytics dashboard looks like so you can get a feel for it. And dispatch analytics, you get a few things. You've got overall channels, so you can select any dispatch channel that you wish to see, so you can review their call volume and response times by channel. And this is really important when it comes to staffing appropriately for your team. So by having this data, you can start to staff when it's needed most for your business. Next, we have individual dispatchers in the data analytics. And our customers tell us that when it comes to hitting KPIs, this is a must. And by looking at their handled calls, response times, and the duration of those calls, they can stay on top of their metrics that you set for your dispatchers. And lastly, we have time frames. So you can filter the time frame as you want. You can look at things at how things are improving week over week, month over month, and track those trends as you need to for your business. I think we have another quick poll question for you. So if you have dispatchers, we'd love to know how you measure their workload and performance metrics today.
Since I fumbled the poll, you guys go ahead and put
Oh,
it
that's
here.
right. I
I
forgot
think
about that.
I'll share all the answers. I figured out how now. So
Or if you didn't answer earlier, maybe just stick it in the chat. That either way. I would say just shout out your answer, but attendees are muted.
Well, we covered a lot. Um, I had desktop workflow, dispatcher experience, channel strategy, analytics. We were curious what questions you guys had. So like Claire said, toss them in the chat if you can.
We had one question from Matthew Combs that I think is a good one here to point out. He was asking whether there's a web portal or whether it's only a desktop application. So the web browser or the management console that you access on Zello, that's more so for administration. You can access the map view from that, but then for actual kind of voice communications chat, kind of that end user experience, that would not be available through the web portal. That would be going through either the desktop application or the Zello app on a mobile device.
thank you, Stefan. We also had a question from Andrew Hall. Is there a specific tier you need for these features? Everything we showed today outside of location history on the map view is included in your core Zello subscription. So anybody with a paid subscription should have access to both the desktop app and dispatch channel in the call queue.
Are you able to show a live demo switching between the channel tabs and the map view? So Andrew, just to keep it simple for this webinar, that's why we had Stefan kind of record that short video earlier. The map view actually pops up a separate window. So you would open up the desktop app, and instead of it being a separate tab, you keep all your channel tabs open, and then there's a menu at the top of your operating system interface where you open up a map view. Great question.
Something to piggyback onto that too. The hotkeys that you can set up, you can set those up to be either channel or user specific, and then you are able to still have like the desktop application in the background or have the map up, but then use those hotkeys to talk directly with a channel or a user.
Call reporting. Okay, so Annabelle, I see your question about call recordings are important for QA. How long are recordings stored? That one does depend on a couple of things. Number one, your settings, and number two, your tier of Zello. So local call recordings or local device history is part of Zello Core, but you would have to confiscate a device in order to check in on somebody's conversations. If you do have Zello Plus, you would have Message Vault or Cloud History, where you can access call recordings or conversations and actually download them for up to 2 years. You can also make sure to only give that capability to those who truly need it. So typically, one or two admins would have access to the message vault and not every user. If that does not answer your question, Annabelle, please type in more detail. Loving the questions. Okay. Have you had any compatibility issues with Linux? Not that I know of. Jen, I don't know if you know more detail. We can also follow up. I see you're anonymous, but if you email us either at paidsupport@zello.com or email one of whoever your account manager is, if it's one of us, we can dive deeper into that with you.
But it is not something I've heard actively or recently. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much. As Claire mentioned, we covered a lot today, but if you have any additional questions on anything that we talked about today, check out our support portal at support.zellowork.com. We have tons and tons of support articles. Some of them are step-by-step guides. Some of them explain how it works. And if you don't find the answer there, reach out to our team, either your dedicated account manager here on this call or our amazing support team at paidsupport@zello.com. And you can also see our support line too if you prefer a phone call. We love to be hands-on with our customers. So if any of this sparked ideas, give us a call. We would love to help you set this up. And lastly, be sure to check out our library of customer stories. So we have some great video use case studies, just like the one you watched today about Amrise, and plenty of other customer stories too. There may be some in your industry. It could spark some ideas of ways that you could leverage this tool that you're already using. We already did the poll. Thank you guys for your patience with that one. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. We're excited to keep this conversation going and dive deeper into everything that Zello on desktop can unlock for your organization. So have a fantastic rest of your day, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.